We are back on Taking Care of Business. Our guest by phone is Bob Loewen, from the president of the Lincoln Club, talking about his campaign reform initiative.
Bob, there's just a comment I wanted to make. Recently, you talked about businesses leaving California, and several legislators, Democratic legislators from the state of California, recently went to Texas or are going to Texas to find out why businesses are going to Texas.
I've heard about that. I didn't, I haven't studied, what they learn, but I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that number one, Texas doesn't tax business as much as business is taxed here, but it's sometimes also the overall tax burden. I mean, they're looking at how much their employees are being taxed. They're looking at how much their executives are being taxed. They're looking at the cost of living. They're looking at the regulatory environment in Texas by comparison to the regulatory environment here. The state legislature seems in Sacramento, which has been elected by the special interests that we're trying to stop here, seems to have a 10-year for that. Here we are in the middle of this crisis. We have one of the highest unemployment rates in the country due to the fact that the private sector business is leaving California. And right in the middle of all of that, they pass new legislation to tighten down the screws on environmental regulation right here in the state, which is going to make it more expensive to create energy. Energy costs are going to go up, which is going to make it more expensive to do business here in California. And they're doing stuff like that right in the middle of this budget crisis, right in the middle of higher unemployment, and they don't seem to get it that there's a connection to those two things. And you're not going to elect people that understand those connections and understand that that's a reason why businesses are moving to Texas or moving to Colorado or now moving to Wisconsin or other places, other states that are getting more enlightened, as long as the special interests are the ones who are electing them. And so you cannot begin to turn that around unless you change the dynamic and take away the primary source of political funding for those legislators. And you can't do that unless you adopt something like our initiative.
It's interesting that Bakersfield people, many came from Oklahoma, and now we're finding the group that's retiring, or the older population of Bakersfield, tends to be moving to Boise, Idaho. So it's not just the businesses; it's the retirees as well that are getting out of California. They just can't afford the tax burden they have. But my question to you, Bob, is: you've got this initiative. Do you have the signatures to get it on the ballot, or how do you propose to get it on the ballot?
Well, I mean, it's in. You do all of this basically in three stages. The first stage is you got to get it. You got to get the signatures to put it on the ballot. In order to do that, you have to have funding to put signatures. I mean, California is too big to get your signatures all through volunteers. I mean, it's just the way it is. And so there are signature gathering firms that you have to pay them to put people out on the street to gather signatures. And in order to do that, you have to raise the funds to do that. And we're in the process of raising those funds. And that's stage one, and I'm pretty confident that we're going to be able to do that. Right now, where things sit is we're waiting for the Secretary of State and the Attorney General's office to do what they call title and summary to the initiative, which takes about 6 weeks. And when the title and summary comes out, then we have 150 days under the law in which to gather those signatures. So during that 6 weeks, we're out there trying to raise money, and there's a lot of people out doing the same thing. So, and once if we raise the money, then we can hire the firms that will gather the signatures, and you'll see people down at the, Costco and the mall and Walmart or wherever, sitting there with, I'm sure you've seen them as you go through your life, gathering signatures for the different initiatives. And hopefully we will gather the signatures in time. Once that's done, then there's the campaign period, until the election, and then we have to raise the funds for that. The campaign period, really, I look at it in two stages. The first stage is sort of the middle stage when it's kind of quiet. There's not a lot happening, but you have to have enough money to sustain public awareness of the fact that your initiative is going to be on the ballot, and you're kind of gathering steam, and through talk radio and things like that, it's more not a lot of money being spent, but there's a lot of hopefully you're developing a buzz about your initiative.
Sure.
You're working on getting editorial pages to endorse, and you're getting prominent people to endorse and that sort of thing. We're hoping that this is something that will have common ground with more bipartisan support because we've gone a lot broader than we have in the past. And then the third stage is the big push, and that's when we'll find out whether or not we have the kind of money that can stand up head to head against the powers that be, and frankly, that's going to be the public sector unions, I think, and maybe this time some of the corporations are going to be opposing us too.
We'll see. We're having a conversation with Bob Loewen, the president of the Lincoln Club, about his campaign reform initiative. Bob, do you have a website set up yet that people can look at it?
We do, and I don't have it right here in front of me, but I'll look for it and get it for you.
I'll tell you what, if you can get it to us, we will definitely announce it on the air for you, okay?
Okay, and it's Stop Special Interest Money Now I believe is the name of the website.
Okay.
I think, actually, if you do that, if you go on stopspecialinterestmoneynow.org, that will get you there.
Great, fantastic.
Hey, Bob, this is Clay. After the show, can you hang on for a couple minutes? I want to talk to you.
Sure.
Yeah, please, if you would. Bob, thanks again for being with us, and we're going to have you on again. I mean, there's never enough time when we have you on. I really appreciate it.
Sure. Once we get on, once we get our title and summary and stuff, when we're out there circulating, it'll be a great time.
Yeah, definitely. Next week, we've got an old friend of mine, Michael Stern, who wrote a new book called I Had a Ball, My Relationship with Lucille Ball, and he will be doing a book signing at Russo's from 2:30 to 5:30 next Saturday. That's it for us. We'll see you again in 167 hours on Taking Care of Business on Kern Radio Newstalk 1180.